Hi, I am Angela, and I'm a senior in high school. I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in December of 1998, and I am now working on my Girl Scout Gold Award project. It took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do for my project, just because I wanted to do something that I was really passionate about, which in turn is helping people with type 1 diabetes. It's something that I've lived with my entire life, and it's not really a disease that I have anymore. It's a part of me. It's something that I've grown to love, oddly enough, and it's something that I really understand. And so I wanted to help you see everything that your life can be. Instead of you thinking of what you can't do anymore and how this disease is going to hold you back in your life, I have interviewed some people, so I have these stories for you to see about wonderful, amazing lives of achievement and sports and college and jobs and theater and every single possible thing you could imagine. And I want you to see that diabetes isn't going to hold you back.
I was diagnosed a week before I turned 2, so I was really small. I was so small, in fact, that my mom couldn't prick my finger like most diabetics. She had to prick the back of my heel.
I didn't know why my parents said, why, let's go home and grab some pillows and go to the hospital. And I was really confused at first because that's not normal.
I was diagnosed when I was 10, and so that was 4th grade. So I had no idea what was going on. I just knew I had to go to the doctor every single day, and I was getting a bunch of blood tests done. And, they'd say the word diabetes, but I had no idea what that was, so I was just, going along with it. And then they told us to go to the hospital, and I was freaking out oh, this is a real thing now. So then we went to the hospital and had to stay in some tiny room for long hours. I had a lot more tests done, and then finally, late at night, they came in and told me that I was diabetic, and I couldn't do anything but kind of sit there in shock because I had no idea what it was, and I just, it was just a shock, so I couldn't really comprehend what was going on. I just knew I was sick and that I was not going to get better.
I remember not being afraid when I was diagnosed because I got to miss school. That was really cool. And I remember my mom bought me all these new dress-up outfits, and I got to just play dress-up with all the nurses and stuff, and that was really fun. I remember people coming around and all my friends came to see me, and I don't think it really the challenges of diabetes really hit until I went home and I was no longer in this euphoric playing dress-up all day scenario.
I remember exactly where I was when we were told that Mary Claire was a type 1 diabetic, and I went through, I think like most parents would, sadness, fear. How is it going to affect Mary first and foremost? She's the one who's got it. And then as a parent, you're sad and you want to be strong for your child.
Growing up with diabetes was interesting because I'm a big eater. I like to eat a lot. And when I was diagnosed, I had to be on a meal plan. I had to eat every 2 hours. And there are lots of crazy stories.
Since I was so young, I think having to be on such a strict regimen, having to eat at certain times, a certain number of carbs, and give insulin for it, that was probably the biggest change. Because I couldn't eat whenever I wanted anymore. So, that was really tough.
I'm so afraid of going low, especially if I'm about to go for a run or I'm trying to study or I'm sleeping, Sometimes that just gets in the way and, you have to stop. It's 15 minutes where you literally have no energy, and that's the most frustrating thing to me because it's the worst feeling in the world.
It became overwhelming. It was like, oh, are we going to have to do this before every meal? Are we going to have to test her all night long always? Is she always going to feel this bad? Are we always going to be this scared? Really, we have to leave the house with all this stuff every time, and it got easier day after day. There's still new challenges, but life with diabetes, it just is.
Diabetics sometimes blend better than the other. Like normal people, they are okay, but like they don't get it. They don't get it.
The biggest obstacle that diabetes has posed in my life would probably be me actually accepting it. I was blessed to be raised by both my parents, and they always told me that I was normal in an attempt to get me to not alienate myself, to not feel bad myself, like it was my fault or anything like that. But I heard it so often that I kind of believed it. And so going through those teenage years when you kind of forget, you kind of become a little bit irresponsible, I actually believed that I was normal. And I would go out to eat and I wouldn't think about taking my insulin, and I'd realize later on when I felt bad, hey, maybe I should take my insulin. So, coming to terms with it, I've actually become so used to telling other people and telling myself that it's not holding me back, I can do whatever I want, that sometimes I need to accept it and think about my diabetes a little bit more, make sure I'm taking care of myself first, and worrying about having fun, achieving new heights later.
I think what's kept me the strongest is having peers and having friends who are going through the same things, because diabetes 98% of the time is a breeze, you're fine. But you have those diabetes days where for some reason your blood sugar is just bottoming out, or you can't get your blood sugar below 400, and you're just so frustrated and you just want to give up. It's like I've tried everything, but it's then that I have my probably 500 plus friends from Camp Sweeney who are just always just a phone call away, a Facebook message away, a text away, and it's so nice just to have those people there. And even they cheer you up and they show you that you can get through this, and they give you the motivation, and they show that nothing's going to hold you back, and they get it.
Definitely has made me stronger. It's made me have to take ownership of myself and my body, and I have to deal with this, so I have to be kind of a lot stronger, more. I have to persevere through this and deal with this, so I definitely think it has made me a stronger person.
This disease, it creates bonds like none other, and she and I have that, and so I'm thankful for that, and I think just knowing that I'll always be there for her and vice versa, that's what carries me through.
I've had diabetes for 15 years, and though it's had plenty of ups and downs, I am here before you, strong and healthy and accomplished. I'm getting ready to go off to college, and it's all really exciting. And although diabetes has had some really rough days for me, it's made me who I am, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. These people have the same stories. It's not just from one person. It's from all these different people telling you, ensuring you, inspiring you that life with diabetes, it's going to be okay.
If I could have words of encouragement for any newly diagnosed families, it'd definitely be don't be scared of anything. You always want to be cautious. You're still learning, but don't be scared. If there's something in your life that you want to try, whether it be food or an activity, don't be scared. Eat it and give the insulin. Correct, give the insulin, whatever your doctor's telling you to do, stick with it, but be confident about it. Activities, go for it. Reach for the moon, stars, whatever it is that you're going for. Sports, public service, whatever it is, go for it.
It seems so scary at first, but I would not take it back in the world. Like it's made me stronger. It's made me it honestly has made me healthier. It's made me appreciate other people's differences more, and it's given me so many great friends, including the 2 best friends that I could ever ask for.
There will be some really hard times you have to deal with this, but you will always figure it out. You will figure it out. You will get your blood sugars in control. there are going to be some rough spots, but there are going to be great times too when you find your diabetic friends, you go to camp, you get your blood sugars in control, you have a really good A1C, and your doctor is only all smiles at your appointment.
I think easy does it, you know? When you leave the hospital, you have this huge plan, and I think as a parent, you think, I'm gonna do every one of these things for my child, and my child is going to not have any issues. And slowly you realize that not every time you wipe your finger with an alcohol swab before you check, you know, slowly you realize that sometimes you don't measure your juice. Sometimes, and it's okay, because that kind of stuff will still happen even if you did everything perfectly. So I do wish someone would have said it's okay to fail a little bit, and you're not making your daughter sicker. You're doing your best, and that's all that you guys can do. And you're gonna break vials, you're gonna run out of supplies, even when you should have called ahead. But it's okay, because they're not being made necessarily worse in that one moment, and beating yourself up about it doesn't help them later thrive with the disease. It's just about kind of carrying through and funneling maybe some of that frustration toward, you know, laughing about it, and knowing that something new will crop up probably tomorrow that you didn't plan for, but there's usually a solution.
I would say that it's gonna be alright because I was diagnosed at 5, and I've lived. Yesterday was my 4-year anniversary for diabetes, so I mean, it will just be alright, and you can do this. It doesn't take a lot because of the stuff that we have, and that there's a lot of stuff and medicine and stuff that helps people, so it's really gonna be okay.